Hello and welcome to the And-i-loo YouTube channel. So what we're doing today is we're kickstarting off with a brand new series we're calling ConspiraTheories. Yeah, you see, we couldn't take conspiracies because those are taken, nor could we take theories. So we kind of created a new genre of sorts just to, be innovative. So what we're going to look into today are coronavirus conspiracies, ConspiraTheories. Many of you might have heard of 3G, 4G, even GG, but not all of you might have heard of 5G, the brand new thing that makes your phone faster. Yeah, but some people don't like advancements in technology. Some people don't like change, and that's what this is about. Change. Some of them have decided that coronavirus is actually being caused by 5G. I mean, how absurd is that? Like, who in their right mind would think that? Mobile phones just keep getting bigger and bigger now. They start covering your face now. I don't know what they put in them, but it must be a virus.
No, Dad! No, that's not a phone, Dad! That's a tablet, Dad! Dad! No, Dad!
Are you trying to get me to take tablets for the virus now? Couldn't fool me with vaccines, could you? Ugh. So, some people believe 5G networks have lowered people's immune response to the virus, and yet others assume that 5G networks facilitate the spread of coronavirus. But don't worry, because this is all bullshit. Ugh. You see, 5G wavelengths are very similar to radio wavelengths. Radios have been around for decades, and still none of us have turned into creepy mutants or whatever. There's really no need to fear 5G at the moment, especially if we're talking about coronavirus. Nothing in common. Virus, wave, no. Alright, so before we go any further, I think it's crucial we understand what is COVID-19. COVID-19 is the name of the disease that you get when you are infected with this virus. The name of the actual virus turns out to be SARS-CoV-2 because it's very similar to the bat-related coronavirus from the SARS epidemic which started in 2002. Now I'll just tell you what a virus actually is because not everyone does biology. Not everyone knows what viruses are. Basically, viruses are microscopic parasites which are way smaller than bacteria, and they cannot thrive and reproduce outside of a host's body. Unlike bacteria, for instance, which like humans have their tiny little organelles and different parts, viruses don't. They just have a strand of DNA or RNA, which is really just a piece of information which is inherently its own. It is like the universe's way to code this very unique specific virus, like we do when we code computer software. This piece of information is then encapsulated in a protein shell with protein spikes sticking out of it. What the spikes in the virus do is they find receptors in human cells and attach themselves to it. Then the virus injects its RNA into a human cell and then uses the tiny organelles or little organs of the cell to recreate and use this information to replicate itself. And then it just spreads. Causes a pandemic, of course. So let's get to the next conspiracy. Next, what we're going to talk about is whether the virus was or was not man-made. This is a very interesting thing to think about, but really, we know the answer. It's been scientifically proved. Very close to the market in Wuhan is a virology lab. And what many people believe is that this lab accidentally leaked a virus into the open, accidentally spilled a test tube, broken some glass, That's how it spread to Wuhan and then to other places. And now we're all at home. Yo, man, I got this job at this virology lab next to Wuhan. It's totally useful for the environment, totally cool. However, this is proven not to be the case. Again, if we could blame the governments or the virology labs in Wuhan, China. But no, scientists have done research and discovered something unique to the virus that wouldn't have been thought of if people were thinking of a new virus. If terrorists or government organizations were going to create a new virus from scratch, what they would do is base this on previously existing viruses and try to replicate and enhance it to better infect. But this virus, on the other hand, has something very unique. It was evolved in such a way to target a very specific human receptor. Scientists have concluded that it must be a result of natural selection and not genetic engineering. But now that I think about it, I guess the evidence isn't that great. We don't really trust the scientists, and they could be lying to us. Some people believe. So of course that brings us back to, was the virus made naturally? And that is what people have concluded. The virus actually came from bats, but scientists think there was an intermediate species between bats and humans. From that species it jumped onto humans, and then from humans it jumped onto other humans, and from those humans it jumped onto more and more humans, and that's where we're at now. Some believe that this intermediate species is a pangolin. Of course, there's no conclusive evidence towards this claim, but I just wanted to include it because it's a cool new animal I found. It's actually endangered and totally illegal to hunt or eat, but it's considered a delicacy in some parts of Africa and Asia. Poor guy. Finally, I'd like to talk about conspiracy number 3. This was empty a long time ago. Some people claim that 2020 is actually a good year for deaths. Coronavirus isn't actually causing any more deaths than usual. Or perhaps the annual death rate is just being blamed on coronavirus. So some people just aren't putting two and two together. They're thinking that coronavirus just doesn't exist. It's a con. Perhaps Bill Gates trying to inject microchips via vaccines into everyone's bodies. And I even found a video of someone calling him the Antichrist. This is ridiculous, of course. Bull sugar! So what I'm gonna do is show you the statistics, the solid maths, the proof as to whether or not people are dying more than usual this year. So what I've gone and done is found the database of weekly recorded deaths in England and Wales over the past 3 years. As you'll see, this is where people have got this idea of coronavirus not being a true thing. Since we're talking about England and Wales and these statistics, coronavirus didn't come to England and Wales in the first few weeks of the year. It came perhaps a month or two later. And then the deaths kicked in. Take week number 10, 11, 12 and 13. In 2020, the amount of people died was 10,000, 11,000, 10,000, 11,000. If you look back at the previous 2 years, it's virtually the same. 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 and 9,000 in 2019 versus 12, 12, 11 and 9,000 in 2018. So clearly we're not doing too bad. However, it's the next few weeks when deaths in England and Wales actually start kicking in. Unfortunately, this data only holds information up to the 15th week of 2020, but I'm sure if you look online, by now there's bound to be more information leading up to the current week. So in the 14th week of 2020, there was a recorded number of 16,000 deaths in England and Wales, versus only 10,000 the previous year, and then 11,000 in 2018. So clearly there's a sudden spike in deaths. Now if we look at the 15th week, there were more than 18,000 deaths versus the previous year when there were only 10,000 deaths. And the year before that, 12,000. So clearly we can see there's a sudden rise in deaths over the past couple of weeks. That's approximately 5,000 extra deaths on the 14th week and then 7,000 extra deaths on the 15th week. So if this curve keeps spiraling, yeah, you can tell where it's gonna go, right? So clearly people are dying. This is true. You can't deny the actual records of numbers of deaths. So despite it being true that the beginning of 2020 was looking like a grand year, coronavirus did kick in and people are actually dying right now. That's why there's all this talk of flattening the curve and all that. So hey, it's true. So if you found these theories bizarre and confusing and just realized that people are weird, why not just subscribe to the channel, like this video, and come back next week for some more fun on the And-i-loo channel. Have a nice day.